Good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Today is Saturday, and typically, my wife is actually with our friend Allie. Today, 2 days ago was her birthday. And women, I don't understand how a birthday becomes a birthday celebration. You know, I've seen some women out there that say, "Oh, it's my birthday month." Okay, your birthday month. Well, which day is it? It's the whole month. That must have been one hell of a labor for your mom. But be that as it may, they're all having birthday celebrations and stuff. And I yesterday, following the footsteps of my mother, I've done something for the second time, and that is I'm learning how to can food. I'd done some in the pressure cooker. I'd actually done some beef bone broth for my wife because she loves having bone broth, and it's one of those things that it's cooking for like a day. But what I did yesterday, because we've grown so many peppers, look at this, pickled peppers. I've got 10 half pints of these. Look at it. Just look at that. That, my friends, that's real food. That is real food that's grown with no preservatives, no processing. It has vinegar, it's got water, it's got salt, and a little bit of sugar, and a garlic clove, and what Mother Nature put into it. And see, here's what I've learned. This is one of those things that you believe it's so after going through it, but now we have proof. I was 275 New Year's. My son sat here and said, as I was cooking, "I'm not eating that." Well, what are you talking about? He's like, "No." He's like, "I got this app, Yuka app," and he says, when you look at some of these things that you're using to cook with, it's getting a 0 rating. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. So I stopped drinking sodas. I stopped eating those candy bars that wasn't really like chocolate. I stopped eating my Pepperidge Farm Pepperidge Farm butterfly crackers. I stopped eating fast foods. And my body has been slowly resetting. I'll drop about 3 or 4 pounds in a whack, and then it'll kind of adjust. Then I'll drop a few more pounds. I'll have a range of about 4 pounds a day because I'm actually doing a lot of work and stuff, and it is warm these days, and so I have a lot of sweating. I've started drinking more water, and I've been using this hydration. It's kind of salty tasting, Relight hydration. So I've been adding a little bit of this to my water, and I've been filling that thing up with ice and everything else. Let it melt and drink, and drinking maybe a little bit less coffee. So I started out at 275. Right now it's 236.8 is the absolute low, but I wake up in the morning about 241. So I'm slowly resetting, and I'm not dieting. I'm not dieting at all. Last night we had rice. I made like a rice with corn in it, with beans in it, tomatoes. Ended up cooking some steak, so it was like a steak bowl like you would get from Chipotle. Had guacamole, had sour cream on it. We had chicken tacos the night before. I made chili, I made spaghetti. I've got pork chops, I've got grilled chicken, I got steak, and I even have been eating candy. Been buying it from the Amish store, but it's actually like real dark chocolate candy, So I'm not starving. And this seems to be easy. I don't have the swelling. But here, I found something that goes ahead and tells you exactly what I've been saying to you for the last 6 months. Check this out. I'm going to get my coffee.
ultra-processed foods, the consumer group which says they make up around 60% of our diets. So what exactly are they? Well, there's no settled definition, but generally they contain ingredients not used in home cooking. But that's a wide range, from ready meals and pot noodles to even sliced bread and oat milk. Well, some studies have suggested there's a link between ultra-processed food and poor health. Well, someone who's been sounding the alarm about ultra-processed food is Chris Van Tulleken, a doctor, scientist and journalist. And you've been arguing, haven't you, that they cause a whole range of problems for us. You've also written a book, which is being released in paperback, about ultra-processed food. Tell me a bit more about why you decided to look into it, because you're an infectious disease doctor. What is it about ultra-processed food that made you kind of sit up and take note?
So as a young doctor, I worked a lot in complex humanitarian emergencies in Pakistan and in Central Africa. And the kids that I saw die, mainly of diarrheal disease, died because they were being marketed baby food that their parents couldn't afford. They hadn't read the instructions and they had no clean water to make it up. And so my research switched from looking at bugs and viruses to looking at what we call the commercial determinants of health. And that's what I work with the World Health Organization and UNICEF on, is how big companies affect health, particularly infant nutrition and adult nutrition.
Talk me through UPF. So everyone at home watching this, what is an ultra-processed food?
So you said in your beginning there, your excellent beginning, that there was no settled definition. There is a very, very settled definition of what an ultra-processed food is. It's housed on the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization website. It's been used in hundreds of excellent studies. It's agreed on by the governments of France, Israel, Belgium.
You can blame my producers.
No. This is a common misconception put about by the food industry that there isn't a settled definition. It boils down to, if you're reading an ingredients list and there's something on there that you don't normally find in a domestic kitchen, a stabilizer, an emulsifier, a flavoring, the product is almost certainly ultra-processed. And ultra-processed foods are distinct from processed foods. Humans have been processing food for millions of years. We have to process our food. We have to cook it and salt it and grind it and smoke it and ferment it in order to make up traditional diets that are associated with very good health. Ultra-processed food is industrially processed, and its purpose is to make profit, and it's very extractive. It's extractive from low-income communities in the UK and from low-income communities in the Global South and in low-income countries.
Is there a difference there then? Because in places like the Global South, are you less likely as a person with less income to eat ultra-processed food than you are, say, in the UK or in America?
So what we've seen in Latin America is this incredible nutrition transition, and it followed the North American free trade deal, where an American diet suddenly went into Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, and there was an explosion of diet-related disease. And so those are the countries that have started to get a handle on how to regulate this industry. In the UK, we are just so far behind. There is functionally no regulation of unhealthy food, however you define it, in this country.
Government scientists who've looked into this say that there are, in their words, observational studies only to go on, that this could be a question more of, correlation, but not necessarily causation. What's your argument against that?
So I have I'm at University College London, where you went, and I have excellent colleagues at Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. These are excellent studies. But more than that, we have very, very good experimental evidence, both about additives that are exclusively used in ultra-processed food and about the food itself. And I'm running a big randomized controlled trial at the moment at UCL. The evidence has far, far passed the threshold for what we call causality. The Government Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, who released that statement, I think you're quoting from them, has 14 members. Around half of them are funded by companies like and including Coca-Cola. So the food industry has a near total grip on the messaging. And one of the things I'm trying to ask for is that our Government Scientific Advisory Committee should be independent of the industry that we know drives diet-related disease. Because the truth is, it doesn't actually enormously matter how you define the food when it comes to regulation. At the moment, the Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition thinks that salt, fat and sugar are the problems. That's fine. Ultra-processed food, one of the ways it harms the human body is very high in salt, fat and sugar, typically. We don't regulate salt, fat and sugar. We have a little bit of sugar tax on some soft drinks, but it's not widespread. There are no warnings on packets. If you think of the difference between harmful food and cigarettes, there's a gulf.
But ultra-processed food is also including things like, for example, sliced bread. things like oat milk. How can those things be classed in the same category as, say, for example, chocolate? I mean, surely white bread has benefits as well.
Bread does have some benefits. It's a source of fibre. We eat much more of it. And when you eat, generally it's supermarket bread that will have additives like mono and diacetyl tartaric acid esters of mono and diglycerides of fatty acids. So that's called datim, most common emulsifier. Now we have evidence that sort of scrubs out the gut. The bread is incredibly soft. It's almost invariably very high in sugar and very high in salt and extremely high in energy density. And it's the foundation of our British diet. So actually, whether we're talking about beans or fish fingers or supermarket bread, these are some of the healthiest things that we eat in the UK, and yet they are almost all very high in fat, very high in salt, and very high in sugar.
But very briefly, we're running out of time. These foods are cheaper.
They
so
are.
What do you say to someone who's saying, look, I can't afford to eat anything else?
We can't just copy-paste tobacco policy. We need to learn from tobacco policy. But the most important thing is you start with warning labels, and we have to drive down the price of real food and make it affordable and available for everyone.
OK, Chris, it's good to have you on the show. Thank you very much indeed. And your book's out in paperback, is it not?
It is.
Thank you very much.
So understand, it's not you. A lot of it is by design. That food is made like cigarettes. It's no mistake that Philip Morris, who was a cigarette manufacturer, is now owning like Chips Ahoy and all of these companies. They understand that the right mix of the sugar, the salt, and everything else gets that dopamine in your head. It gets you addicted. I swear, I would eat a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup stick, a 4-pack of them, and immediately not be satisfied. And if I had a second one in there, I'm going to eat that. That's 8 of those. It's just like when you start eating a couple potato chips, you got to eat the whole bag. Because what they want is, they want customers to buy what they're selling. They want you to eat and eat and eat and eat more, because for them, it's about making money. It's not about what you eat. So I hope, because this is getting close to football season now, and that's when everybody comes to my house that brings sodas and things like that, or they'll bring in, desserts and things, or you're going out and everything else with friends, that I don't fall back into the old habits. And that's the thing. I've gone out to eat, and things. It's just about making sure that it's a once in a while thing, that it's not an everyday thing. But I don't want to go back to the way I felt. I am able to move and do things like I couldn't before. And by losing the weight, and now I'm going to the gym time to time with my son. In fact, I went the other day, and having the gel shots in my knees have made my knees feel so good. I was doing squats. Now my muscles are sore. So I got to go back and try and get that lactic acid out. So that's what we have for you guys today. And I hope you all have a great day. Peace.